Hey guys, it's Duffy Betterton with the Ballroom box, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that were in our summer box. Specifically, today, we're going to interview Brent Mills and talk a little bit about Music Mills Live. So, Brent, hello.
Hey, how we doing?
Good. How are you doing?
All right. Look, here we are, right here, ready to go. Music and everything, right?
Yes. Oh, love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. So, I'm so excited that we put a little thing in our summer ballroom box for our subscribers about music. Obviously, as ballroom dancers, we love music and we like to dance to music. And so
Yeah,
I had
your, little-
heard,
your little
go ahead.
card you made? Yeah,
Yes, yes,
right there.
yeah. So the little card tells all about Music Mills Live and radio and so many things. So we're going to dive
Yes.
into that and we want to hear about that. But first, I want to kind of hear a little bit about you and your story. So tell us a little bit about your music and dance journey. How did those things come together? And what does that look like?
Um, yeah, I don't know when they came together. Like I taught myself piano growing up as a small child, like 3 or 4, just visually looking at my older siblings' piano books. I didn't know what was going on down here, but I saw the stories of the pictures. So I would just like hit the keys like there's a dog with a balloon and he's running around the park, and I was just kind of describing the picture, randomly hitting the keys. My parents were concerned, I'm sure, that I had a little problem with something. But I remember that specifically, seeing something and wanting to put music to it. So that began that. And then I started dancing when I was in high school. My drama coach happened to be a former ballroom champion, trained by Mr. Roy Maver, uh, who's a legend as far as the cabaret was. Basically the Baryshnikov of ballroom dancing when it came to cabaret. So she was a prodigy of his. She's now teaching drama in high school. We had to do Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, my first high school musical, and that requires 14 male dancers. So we're in a podunk tiny high school. So we had to recruit the baseball players. I mean, I played baseball and football. We had to get all these guys, and we enticed them by, hey man, you're gonna do lifts and you're gonna be jumping over sawhorses, because it's a very country,
Yes,
mountain
yes.
man, right? Manly thing what back then. So it's like they're all like, yeah, we're in. So we learned the waltz, we learned the polka, we learned all these lifts, all these stunts. Um,
Fun.
yeah, 14 guys in a school doing it. It was a miracle. So basically, when it was over, everyone was like, well, that was fun. Can't we keep doing it? Because it was pretty much after school every day for like 3 months, right?
Yeah.
So that coach was like, well, I'll just do it every Tuesday after school. So we met every Tuesday for 1 hour after school for the rest of the year. And we just put a little we learned cha-cha, little routines. And that kind of stuck. And then it became an official club the next year. By the time I was a senior in high school, it was like a full-on 30, 40 member club. We would do performances at the proms and the rest homes, all that kind of stuff. And that at that time, then there was more alumni coming out of the dance programs, taking on more teams. So those high school kids were going over to my high school to do this team. So then other alumni would be like, well, I'll start a team. And then I'll start a team. So then all these high school teams started going. So maybe 2-3 years after that, it became an official class during school. No, it was after
Wow.
school, but you still got credit. And then 2 years later, they made an official PE class during school. You could take ballroom dance during school, get a PE credit. And then a year later, they gave a fine arts credit just so you could count it against
Yeah.
anything.
That's awesome.
Then there became a team match, and it became so big in all the high schools. It's now a state recognized school board sport. You can letter in ballroom dancing and dance sport and formation dancing. So it's like it went from just this little podunk high school that we started, and now it's a fully accredited state school board recognized sport. And now it's in the junior highs, and then went junior highs down to the elementary schools. So it's this massive, massive program from all these kids. So that's where that started. And then I went off to college and went to music school. I was at
Okay.
Berkeley, where I did piano. Well, I was a drummer originally, went there as a drummer, um, went to audition as a drummer, failed, profuse, just failed, and almost quit. But thought I like, well, I do play the piano. Maybe I'll try that. So they let me switch. I I aced all the piano tests, which I didn't think I would do, but I did, and so I just stuck with piano from there. And then okay, so that was yeah, music school. Then finished and decided to go to finish my music degree back at the University of Utah, where my mother worked, and tuition was only like nothing compared to 6,000 a year. Sorry, 6,000 a semester over in Boston. So I'm like, yeah, I'll just scream through my degree and get my whatever. And it was compared to where I was, it was like high school band. It was really not quite challenged. So I just stopped. It was just I was done, and I was working at a bar and kind of just floating around. And someone at the bar said, "Hey, I have a studio with these kids. I'm doing hip hop and ballet. I heard you have danced, like have experience with boy girl dance like lifts, because I'd done cabaret." I don't know who told. So I was like, "Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, go ahead." I showed up on a Saturday, and I was like, "Oh yeah, take that kid and put him in the lift and flip him over there." And yeah, that's how you flip him over. And it was just very easy because I'd done it so many times. Well, they were just like blown away. They're just like, "How do you, you know?" My, and then that's when I started realizing I had some kind of choreographic. Like I loved putting all the pieces with the music, syncing
Yeah.
it all together. So I realized they hired me again and again, and then they hired me to be the assistant uh, director of the studio. So now I'm done with the bar scene. I'm done with the restaurant business. Like finally was done with that and got into that. And so realized quickly that I needed some more education in my dance background as far as ballet and all the jazz and all that stuff. So I was like, I'm going back to school. That's when I went to BYU down there for their dance program, because their
Okay.
dance program is massive. Like 6,000 students go through their program every semester. It's a huge, huge program. Like they're folk dancing, they're contemporary, like all there's like a whole, it's a massive department. So I wanted to go there. Plus they had these dance companies that toured all over the world. So I'm going to go down there. So that's what that did. Did 4 years there, won the U.S. title, U.S. Cabaret twice there, and then yeah, then got into went to New York, toured with the Stomp in Canada for a summer, and then came back, got a job teaching out of Gary Dinah McDonald's studio over there at Rogers in New Jersey. Got my first professional partner. Started
Okay.
dancing there, and then all of a sudden someone needed music, and they knew I was a drummer, and that was before you could find all the music online. You had to find them on the CDs, right? So they didn't really know how to find. They wanted to do Phantom of the Opera, but they wanted to make a Latin medley out of Phantom. So there's no cha-cha versions of Phantom yet, so we had to make them. So I'm like, yeah, I can make that. So I drum tracked it, gave it to Gary and Diana. They ended up winning the World Latin Show Dance Championship that year. So then I started doing Louis Van Amstel, started doing uh, Karina. I like all those pros. They all started coming to me. So um, then all of a sudden, someone like, I need something happened with the Yankee Classic. I need music, and someone said I did music. So I'm like, oh, I'll come up and do the music for the comp. So I went up playing my tunes, and of course the judge is like, oh, I like your music. Can you do it at my comp? I'm like, sure. And that was like 1999.
Okay.
And um, now we jump ahead to 24, and now I'm doing. We do. I mean, we've done. I mean, through those 20 years, we've done live shows. I've done bands. I've done trios. We've done, um, but the competition after competition. So we went from 1, 2, 3 comps a year. Now we do. I do about 160, over 160 events, where the music that I've curated is is in specific events all over going on. So I have a little team of 4 guys that I've trained and taught them how I do and what I do, and blah blah blah. And so that just kind of spread because they noticed the music was a little different, and it was just my perception of like, hey, this is what I would like to dance to. So that was the relationship of a little bit of the difference when it comes to music. People who are hobbyists in music and they have just collected music and they danced a little bit, but they're really musicians. Or there's a professional dancer who is a probe dance their whole life, but they just dabble a little bit in music.
Yeah.
So I was lucky enough to get a professional background and experience and practical application on both sides on a high professional level. So to me, when dancers are talking about music, I completely relate. And that's what was kind of helped, because I was able to take dancers' music and they don't have to come to my studio. They don't have to come and sit down with me for an hour and tell me to cut it there. And they don't have to take hours to go through their music and find out when to cut, because they all wanted to do that, but dancers rarely want to take that focus because they still want to keep dancing. So I was able to say, they would be like, I want this. Can it be a show cha-cha? I'm like, yep. And I'd take it. I'd go home. I'd listen to it. I'm like, oh yeah, this is the beginning. This is what I'd want to do. I'd totally do this. And then in the beginning, in the end, big. Yeah. So I know their language. And so I just cut out a whole process for them because I could speak their speak. And then I bring it back the next day. They're like, this is perfect. Like, how do you know this? And I'm like, because that's what I would have done. So that has helped immensely, because I'm not really a composer where I want to write songs, because that's songwriting. That's, finding someone who has right lyrics, or you write your own lyrics and then you write the melody for those lyrics. And like that would be someone like Prince. That's what Prince did. He would write his songs, his melodies, then he'd put them all on paper, theory-wise, and then he'd record them all. So that is a full-time, crazy artistic endeavor. Yes. So to me, yes, I like taking either existing music and using the patterns to create music for movement, whether it's contemporary movement, tapping, right? That type of things, but especially ballroom when it comes to all the rhythms. So that is how that journey came about, where I went music first and then went into a whole dance and then went back to the serious music and then into dancing on a formal basis. And then, because what I realized is that in the musician and the dancer professional life, let's say the highway of life of their profession, musicians stay in the right lane. They stay in the right lane and they make their music and they just send it out. Whoever hires them, right? Whoever wants their music, hopefully this goes big, whatever. They stay right here because that's all they know. Their tune, the way they play, jazz musician, country, blues, right? That's their dancers are in the left lane because they're continually creating and switching over, because they'll hear a song, get inspired, go back out to the left lane, dance their dance. Oh, I need another song. Oh, I'm inspired, come back out. So they're continually in this lane back and forth. But the musicians never come over here. They don't know that there's so much work over here for these crazy dancers that need music. And now, more so than ever, with the internet and licensing and Facebook being able to tag and have that algorithm that's going to, shut the music down. So now more than ever, dancers need musicians that can just create music, create rhythm. We can create sound alikes, I can create, and that's like, that's the bad habits, right?
Yeah.
And I can, and if they like that feel, then I can just slightly alter it. Then I just changed it, but it's the same feel. So there's so much opportunity for musicians to kind of customize that music for them. So I was last 25 years have tried to merge these two and get more musicians active into finding that place for them. But I'm also like the dancers to get them to recognize that the music is what the bass is. That's the story.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a couple questions about that, kind of digging into that. One
Go for
is how do you pick songs for competition? And then the other piece of that is as a past dancer, and maybe this plays into like how you pick songs for competitions, but as a, dancer in your history, and now it's part of your DNA, are there aspects of the song, of the music, that you wish dancers either knew or heard and identified with? So I
That's
guess
a good
good question.
question. So when it comes to selecting whether it's pro or because I always think of like there's the people who are learning
Yes.
and trying to put their feet along with rhythm coming in their ears and the whole physical part of it, and
Yes.
then hoping you have rhythm and you can correlate body with sound, that whole thing. So um, I am all about identification. So like I when I hear music within bars, I'll be like, that feels rumba. That speels like you can identify a waltz, obviously, but you could be like, well,
Yeah.
that's more Viennese. I can feel because there's lots of those songs that are kind of in that middle tempo range where you like, I could slow it down to touch and it'd be a nice waltz, or I could speed it up and it's gonna go Viennese.
Okay.
So to me, the first thing as I'm listening, not just hearing what the cha-cha is, but I'm listening like, oh, that's that's bad habits in cha-cha form. Oh my gosh. And then you already know what bad habits is. And so as you're dancing, you're actually like, yeah, I know this song already, instead of not hearing bad habits until the very end. And you're like, was that bad habits? Oh crap. I wish I would have known. Because
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's happened very, very many. That has happened so many times because that's so when I'm picking songs, if it's because I'll categorize my music. I have from 0 to 9. So
Okay.
goes 3, 5, 7s, and 9s. And so my 9 category, it'll be like American Foxtrot, let's say. So it'll say AFX and it'll say 9. And then I know 9s are my open, advanced, professional, brand new, could be a little difficult, could be quite, just for professional ears. Or it's the newest song that nobody has yet, or the good energy. And then I have 7, and 7 category is a downgrade from 9. So lots of the 7s are from old professional music that I've played years past, or just last year. In fact, they get downgraded within a couple years. And so those are the good songs that go down because they're still good songs, and they're still good songs
Right.
for open pro, open bronze, open silver. So as I'm downgrading music into, I don't want to say downgrading, but as I'm moving music into another category, then 7s, as they get stale, they'll go down to 5 category, which is like kind of an archive of classics. So if someone comes to me and is like, hey, can you play this kind of old song that I don't play anymore, but it's kind of nice to hear? Let's say Love Potion #9, right? It's classic. We don't really play it, but it's kind of fun to hear once in a while because it reminds me of Ron Montez. So sometimes old songs will spring up all kinds of people's memories of
Right.
watching videos,
Right.
past,
Yeah.
whatever. And then I have a category 3, which is a different tempo for different levels. So bronze
Okay.
foxtrot, for instance, used to have a faster tempo in bronze. So it was 2 bars faster. So 32 measures per minute instead of 30, which is significant when you're having a bronze student just doing slow, slow, quick, quick. And then you have an open silver that's doing grapevines and all that stuff, and that just
Yeah.
becomes very fast for everybody. So that's how I'll pull music, and then I'll delete and retire music from there. And I found out that I was one I'm the only one that really retires music. So I don't just keep all the track. just to keep the tracks. Like I'm not a music hoarder.
Yes.
I delete. I don't. Things get old, then they get old to me, and I get annoyed, and I just want it away from me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, so that's the first question. The second
Yes.
question.
Great. Awesome.
What was the second question? Because I just went
Okay.
on.
Yes. My second question was really, I guess, more thinking about it from the dancer's perspective. When you, I guess, number one would be, do you watch the dancers to see how they react to the music that you're
Yes.
playing at a competition?
Yeah.
And what are you watching for while you're watching the dancers listen and dance to the music that you're playing?
I'm watching them. Well, I'm either watching them because I'm entertained because I'm watching them sing. So I like to watch them sing the songs because now I'm like, all right, they're familiar. And they're
Yeah.
familiar with, they wouldn't be singing if they weren't happy about the song being on. So that means, oh, they're in and they're hooked in. So um, I'll watch for that. That brings me joy. And then I will watch dancers just plow through beautiful music that I've thought it was gonna go real well. Like this is a group of finalists here. This is like at the top four in this final, so they're gonna dig this too, right? And
Right.
I'll put the kind of more eclectic, a little deeper. You can't let a bronze come out and make that fly, but the I have high expectations of professionals because they're calling themselves a pro. If you're going to call
Right.
yourself a
Right. Right.
pro, you better be able to step up and show that. So I
Right.
will find music that is appropriate for them sometimes. Um, but sometimes they don't listen, and I watch them just plow through beautiful retards or like a soft spot. They're just, they just, I just go, yeah, this is like, yeah. Because then I'm like, well, why am I trying? Why do I bother?
Oh,
If you're
yeah. Oh,
just
that's
going to
hard.
plow through the
Yeah.
tune, do I need to care? Of course, I want to care, and I do. I can't help it because I like the connection that I get. So that won't ever end. So it'll never be me up there just throwing songs to the wind and not caring or
Right.
whatever.
Okay.
However,
So go ahead. I was going to say, from the other perspective, what do you wish that dancers who are stepping onto the floor and you're getting ready, you're playing the song, what do you wish that they knew or that they were listening for?
first thing I wish that they would be patient. So, as in, they don't need to just start right out the gate. And I think a lot
Mhm.
of dancers, especially on the lower levels or the closed events, pre champ, those levels, they think that the sooner they get going, the better chances they are of getting the mark. And that
Right.
is the furthest thing from the truth. Yes, you will pull focus. You'll pull focus. Of course, if you're the first one that takes off, naturally you're going to pull focus. But man, you better be right because if you take off and you're off, dude, it's like very unforgiving. Well, I'm
Right.
just saying
Right.
because if you got that confidence, you're just gonna be like, yeah, I'll throw set up to the wind because I'm just that good. It's gonna take off. Then you better
Right.
be on. You better be on that rhythm. You better be on that count
Right.
two,
Right.
whatever it is, because they will all watch that. They'll all watch you either crash and burn. Yep, never mind. Right? Because they'll be like,
Right.
yeah, this okay,
Ugh.
okay.
Yeah.
I'll come back
Right.
to him. He was cool. But I'm telling you, it's more annoying than it is because it's really distracting for the judges because it's all of a sudden that their focus has been pulled. And so they're kind of already, they may know some of the couples, they already may have who they're going to watch, things like that. So it's like, you don't need to make it harder for the judges. So to me, take your time and like take the song in because no judge will penalize you for taking 2 bars or 4 bars or even 6, 8 bars. But if you take the time and you're actually showing that your body is moving, you're taking it all in, they're going to be like, look at this dancer, man. They are taking this tune. They are awesome. They're coming back to the final just because they see you emoting about the music. They
Yeah.
don't see silver students emoting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I always I'm not every song is an amazing song. It can't be, because that's not really when you go out dancing in a social venue. You're not gonna. What do you do when you don't like the song? You sit down,
Right.
right?
Right.
So you don't really have that luxury when you're on a competition floor. You're standing
Yeah.
and they play that crappy song. You don't get to just be like meh and just go sit down, right? So
Yeah, I wish. There definitely been
you
times that I've been like, "Oh, really? This one? Oh, shoot."
yeah. Sometimes that happens,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
But
and
there have
and I
definitely been times when I've stepped out onto the competition floor and, like, done the whole dance and then walked off and been like, "What song was playing?" Like, I was so focused on following and not running
yeah,
into people or trying to remember my routines and do all the things that I know I heard the music, but I
yeah,
totally missed dancing. And I feel
to the
like
to the
a lot
music.
of us, yeah,
Yeah,
to the music. Yeah, right, exactly. Like, I guess I danced, I went through the motions, but I didn't connect to the music because I was so in my head about all these other things that I missed it. But then I can very clearly remember there's a few times, I mean, specifically that there's a song that came on and I was like, yes, I love this song. I'm so glad I got this one. And it, when you do recognize it, it's coming, you're able to emote, like you said, or engage. I think engage and really
engage is
connect.
the best one, because then
Yes, yes,
then it shows up, and then it shows
right.
up like when you stop and pause, because in the song there's a pause there, whether it's the
Yes,
original artist or not. That's why I do my little Monday night. He calls it Music Meals Mondays, because I make everybody listen. So um, last week I had a new song, and
okay.
I did it. It's not a waltz, but I made it into a waltz, and I made them make. And this is a famous song, right? Famous song. And I was right.
Yes, yes, yes.
It was
Ah, where's my husband? I don't know. Name that tune. I don't know the name of it, but I know it. Yes.
yeah. Well, that's funny, because I made them like they couldn't get it in waltz, so I made them. I like played it in a jazz. Played it in jazz. They couldn't do it in jazz. So then I played it in cha cha, um, and then they finally would get it. So this is, see if you can get it. You'd be like, you got it.
I can hear it, but I can't sing it. What
Once I got it to love.
are
Oh, I
Yes,
get
yes,
by with a little help from my friends.
yes.
Oh, I get high. When you started dancing and recognized, like, that
Yeah,
is, you know, with a little help from my friends, you would have been a
right.
whole different kind of dance experience, rather than like watching your video and like, what song? And
Yeah.
then you're like, oh my gosh, that was so fun. Why didn't I hear any of that? So
Right,
I
right,
find that in ballroom, because if you go to an Argentine tango competition, there's no tempos. If you go into West Coast swing, salsa, bachata, no tempo regulation. None. None. Nobody is stuck on tempo. We, the ballroom, are the only ones that are stuck on tempo. Now, there's reason, because if it goes faster or slower, it actually becomes a different dance, right? So
right, right,
there is reason to have it within a range, because there's so many dances. Quick step will
right.
turn to Peabody. Peabody turns into Lindy, right? So you can't have that flying around everywhere. However, they got so stuck on one tempo that this group does it this fast and then that group does it that fast. And so we were like, well, we're just going to find you the happy medium. And then what happened was the digital age came. We were able to find the music much faster, the better music, the good
Yeah.
tunes. And everybody started getting the good tunes all the time. The phrased music, the ones that's the perfect tempo, whatnot. And I think it's done a little disservice. Uh,
Mm,
and I'm one of the culprits that have done a little bit of a disservice to the industry because now I feel that it's this high expectation that I have on me when I show up that I need to deliver their little perfect music that's perfectly
yes.
phrased at their perfect tempo. And if I don't, then I kind of get this kind of pushback or this kind of look or not quite as satisfied. And I'm like, well, now we're just losing the entire base while we have this style of dancing, social
Why we're doing
dancing, because
right. Yeah.
someone heard a song and they moved to it and it caught on like the twist,
Yeah.
right? And so, but it was all because the music made that all happen, and they
Right.
listened
Right.
to the music to establish what they were going to do. And now it's
Yes.
like,
Yes.
I'm not going to listen now what it's going to establish. I'm just going to expect this song now when I go out and dance my dance. And kind of
Right.
that kind of like I'm going to flow with whatever tune I get is kind of gone now. And so I'm not into like trying to deliver that as much anymore. And it may show because I'm not going to be concerned with I'm going to get them the right content, style, right, the appropriate range of tempo for them that doesn't throw
Right.
them on, either way. But as
Good.
far as this song has an extra bar, an extra phrase, they'll be okay. And everyone has to say, I'll be okay. Like, you're going to be okay. This is not the
Yeah. Yeah.
Olympics.
Yeah.
This is not a world anything. And even if it is a world anything, if you're a pro and you're on a world level, then you roll with the extra measure because they all do. I've never had
Yeah.
I've worked with world, the top, the number ones, Katouche, all of them, clear going 20 years back, and not one of them have ever been that particular than what I get from kind of dancers on the mid level because they're all
Yeah.
the expectation. The highest level dancers, they are all 100% like, yeah, you just throw me whatever you want. I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
every time. Victor
I think
Funk.
that's one thing
He's like,
I
yeah,
really
shots, I
enjoy.
love slow smoke shots. Play them as slow as you want. I don't care. Things like that.
Right.
Because they would just adjust. That's how good it was. So
And they're
I
gonna
want,
adjust.
yeah, exactly.
Right? Like the professional level dancers. So as an
Yes.
amateur, I'm following, right, all the time. I think that's one thing I enjoy about social dancing sometimes is when you get a lead who's really listening to the music. And like West Coast is one of the best ones where you can just totally play so much and have fun. And then you
Yep.
get that lead who is playing with the music and knows the song, knows, what's coming maybe. You could just play along with it, and it just really is very fun to connect to the music and do that because you have to pay attention to the music and to the lead. Whereas I feel like in competition sometimes it's so programmed that we kind of miss that, and maybe that's why I tend to not engage so much in competition and need to
But
just
that's
take
good.
a minute and listen. Right?
Right. Because if you imagine like the playful, the loose, whatever it is when you just said about West Coast swing, right?
Yeah.
When West Coast, that phrasing where you can stop, you feel comfortable to dance
Right.
like that during that. So why does that energy not translate over to cha cha? Why can't you
Right.
have that
Yes.
same playful throw cha cha around, doing some shines? No, they don't do that. See, in their
No.
brain,
Right.
they're like, oh, I can do
Right.
that in West Coast. Oh, and I can do that salsa. Yeah, I'll play salsa. I'll play bachata. Yeah, I'll play
Right.
merengue.
Right.
You know, but like cha cha, no, 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 bro. I got cha cha. I have to do my crossbody leads. I have to do my knee,
Yes,
right?
yeah,
Like
yes,
it
yes,
just
yeah,
shuts down into this. very scientific, and don't even
Yeah.
start with the ballroom dancers. They're like the worst
Right.
scientists.
Yeah.
However, easy they're the easiest though
Yes.
to play music for. So that's
Oh, that's good. That's good.
the
Okay, so
easiest.
tell us a little bit. I know that you're traveling. How would people know what events you're going to be at? Is there a way?
They typically I the next goal on our website is to have like a tour dates, kind of make it look like,
Okay.
Brent's on tour, but I'm
Yes.
just pushing the button. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
where but every event, that's the next part in the website. But every event is listed. They will list their. So you just go to officials in every
Yeah.
website. And
So
I'm considered one of the officials, I guess.
I love it. As one of the as a competitor, but also now as a vendor, we travel to events with our dresses and our boxes, and so there definitely we hear a lot of music from all the different competitions: NDCA, USA, UCWDC, private local events, all the different ones. And so there have definitely been several that we've been to, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love the music at this event. And then from then on, I'll like pay attention to who's playing the music or DJing, each event, so that I'm like even shazamming songs to figure out
Good.
where did that come from or
Well,
whatever.
hopefully those are guys from my team. That's what I'm
Yeah,
hoping
right.
for them.
Yes, yes. Okay, tell us a little bit about Music Mills Live. What is Music Mills Live? Where did it come from? And what's the purpose?
So if we go up, I'll go back to the graphic so you can show you
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
on the
Little
web
banner.
the little banner, so it'll be easier to explain.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
perfect.
let's look at this, and then you can see. Yes, there you
Yes.
go. So with this, let's just bring it up a little more. So there's three things in the app that the app does. So this is the only app in the world that does these three things for everything that a dancer made. So the Music Mills player how the app started. The Music Mills player is basically everything that is in your phone, that's downloaded in your phone, all of your music you've collected through Spotify or your Apple Tunes or Google Play, depending on your phone. So that only plays downloaded music, not streaming music. So if you're an Apple Music and you have all your cha-chas because you found them through Apple Music, my app will not recognize it because Apple will not allow a third-party application to stream their music through their account, obviously.
Right. Right.
So in order to make sure that the music they're giving you is purchased because you are playing it at another place, then they make you download it. And that was back in the day when you had a phone and you used to plug your phone into your laptop and sync your music. Remember that? That
Yes,
doesn't
yes,
happen
yes.
anymore because everything's in the cloud.
Right.
So
Right.
that the player is meant for not cloud to play on
Gotcha.
the
Good
airplane or whatever.
description.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay, so now the radio
Yes.
here, that is also free, and that is the professional rounds, 24 hours a day. I've made all of the professional rounds that I play at the competitions. So it's the waltz and then the kind of the tag music in between while they reposition and then tango uh, sequentially that way. There isn't any talking. There's no announcements of anything like that, but it is a full official round, minute and a half and whatnot. And all of the styles are there. So Latin, rhythm, smooth, ballroom, all the time. You just, if you don't want the round, you just advance it, start another round. You can also in the radio, there's a dance party playlist. So dance
Yes.
parties, you can click on that, and they're 45-minute dance parties with the salsas and bachatas. They're all timed at 2 minutes and 15. Fade out, come back in. Never have to make another party list again, ever.
Right.
Which is
Yeah.
takes a lot of time back in the day, right? So these are
Yes.
just
Yes.
and this is all stuff from my library. So this is all the curated music from my library. So it's the modern music, the classics, all that stuff. And
Okay.
then when we
So,
get
before you go to live, hold on. I have two questions for you about the radio and the player. One is both radio and player are free, and you just register with an email address, but there's no charge to either one of those, correct?
correct. Those are free. You just do the email for registration, and that's it. You'll can do the remember me on the button on the screen, and it will always log you in that way. So
Perfect.
the
And
app
then
is
my
free.
second question about the radio is that the music that is in the rounds does get updated every so often, correct?
Quarter every quarter. It
Every
doesn't get
quarter.
replaced.
Awesome.
We just
Right.
add another
Right.
section.
Yes. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Awesome.
So now we have the Music Mills live, and we say live because that's you're playing music from my library live on the spot, song by song if you like, or as a group. So in Music Mills live, we have all 32 channels. So if you look at this graphic, actually, what I'll do is let me get. Here we go. I think I can show you. Let's take this off.
Okay.
Come back, and we'll look at the app. So on the app here, you have the three choices, right? But we're gonna do this to sign up. Come on, here we go. So there's your channels, all right there. Your different styles. So you got waltz, tango, foxtrot, all of that, right? And this is Music Mills Live. So at any point, you can drop these down, and you'll have all of the dances that are there. So there's your waltz, your tangos. And then as you use these, I have a continuous play and a single play. So if you just want to dance one waltz, then you do single play waltz in the international smooth. It'll play the one waltz, stop. If you have multiple teachers teaching, you can play the one waltz, and the teacher, while that waltz is going on, goes up and says, I'm going to do a cha-cha next.
Okay.
And so after the
Yeah.
single, cha-cha. So just sequentially we'll go single song by single song.
Beautiful.
And we do that because there's always that one teacher that puts on the cha-cha and it puts it on repeat. And then you have to hear the cha-cha for 17 minutes until you're ready, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
You got to go over there and put your song. I mean, so this is just like, okay, you get your one cha-cha and then I'm going next.
Right.
And it's just fair
Right.
across the board.
Yes.
But if you're the only teacher and it's waltz day, then you just put the continuous waltz, and then the waltz will just sequentially change songs.
Right.
So you're done. Okay.
Yes.
So you
Yes.
have those choices, and you have ballroom, Latin, smooth, rhythm, and then nightclub, which is all of the bachatas, the salsas, West Coast merengues, nightclub two-step, Argentine tango, Peabody's, hustles. So it's all there. If you're also a nightclub social dancer, it's all the single dances, whatever. The other cool thing about Music Mills Live is that if you hear a song, there's a little heart button up on the top, and you can heart it or like it. And then on the very top where your heart is or where your likes are, then that will drop down to a list of all the songs you have favorited. And you can click on the song and it'll give you the artist, the album, it'll give you the information. So you can go buy it and either put it back in the app, because you
Yes.
get it back. Oh, my student Sally loves this song, so I favorite. I look at, I'm gonna go to iTunes, I buy it, put it back in here. Now I can play it through my app. And the cool thing about the music player is that once I have those songs in my music player, then I literally can do anything I want to the song. So once I add songs into the music player, I can change pages, and now I can change all the pitch. And we spent a lot of money on this pitch plugin, so it doesn't sound gross when you change it. You actually
That's good.
you actually
Right.
don't really hear unless you go extreme one or the other. But
Okay.
it was really important to me that you didn't sound like a little chipmunk when you started, altering the pitch and whatnot. Just the tempo. Sorry, the pitch doesn't go up or down, but the tempo will change. The other cool thing is that once you find that tempo, you can save that information for that track in the specific that you choose. So you never have to keep doing it. You can finish it. It's always going to be that long. If you don't like the intro, you can ask it to come in at 30 seconds and fade in for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So you can get rid of the long intro. Now this is back in the day when we didn't have a choice because that was the only waltz and it was so long and I hated the beginning, right? And then it kicked in. Today you have enough waltzes out there where you don't really need to bother, adjusting every
Yeah.
song so you can at least get to the good part. But it still is really good for especially people who are doing solos and specialty dances, if they don't
Yeah.
really, not something that they're going to go out and spend money on for editing,
Right.
they can get the
Right.
basics, get the end done. So you can edit it front and back and the
That's
tempo,
awesome.
save it, and it'll always be saved. But it doesn't ruin the track. It doesn't change the original track. So you don't have to
Yeah.
worry about that. So that's the three functions of the app. It does everything for you, whether you're downloading and, because I found dancers all over the world where either I love my music, I got all my music right here. I got my
Right.
cha-chas, I got my rumbas, and they're so into it and they love searching, right? And they love
Right.
playing their favorite music. So
Yeah.
that's 10% of the dancers. And then there's like a good half of another 40% that are like, no, I'm gonna find and pull music, but they're kind of Spotifying it and Apple Musing it, and they're
Right.
not really, they're putting it into folders and it's something that they
Right.
toy with, but it's not taken very seriously. But they
Right.
also
Right.
still want all of that new music. And then there's the dancers that are like, I just need cha-cha. I don't even care what cha-cha is. And that's why I started the Music Mills Live, because nobody really wanted to search anymore either, because the app didn't do that at first. The app only played music in your device, and then unlimited data happened. So everybody
Right.
stopped worrying about data and downloading because they could just stream now. No big deal.
Right.
So we don't need to
Right. Right.
download anymore. So that went by the wayside. So I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I like Pandora because Pandora lets me, like, I'm a big, huge fan of Sting. So I want to hear Sting music. I don't need to all Sting music, but they're going to give me artists that sound like Sting. And I dig
Right.
that. So I don't need all Sting music and specific song. I just want that feel. So I
Right.
thought this is the same thing. I don't need a specific waltz. I need a waltz that is at
Yes.
87 beats per minute and doesn't have a long intro, doesn't stop in the middle. I just need
Yeah.
rhythm, basically, right? So I
Right.
thought,
Right.
yeah, this is what we should do. Instead of the Sting channel, it's the waltz channel and it's the foxtrot channel. So
Yes.
you just you don't
I
care.
love it.
And if you don't
Yeah.
like it, you dance it. So that's what we
It's so
did.
great.
And yeah,
Yeah.
it
We have
really takes out all
subscribers.
the searching.
Yeah, it's so good. And it hits our dancers so well. We have dancers who are professionals, who are teachers. We have dancers who are amateur, some who are just getting started, some who are,
Mhm.
gold level,
Yeah.
pro almost, and then some people who just do showcases. And so, but the showcase is perfect because they're usually picking one specific song that they're going to dance to, and they need to dance it at, this tempo and whatever they need to cut it, or
That's right.
so it's really great. I'm very thankful to have this time for us to talk and for us to hear about how it works. I wanted to educate our subscribers on it, and then you're kind of offering our subscribers 30 days to use the Music Mills Live. If they sign up, just send you an email, and then you will give them access. And then after that 30 days, it charges, right, $12.99 a
Yep.
month.
Then they can go in and sign up. Yes, they're going to get a month for free for sure.
Right, right,
Yes.
right. So thank you for that, and
Oh, you're
thank you
welcome. I
for,
hope people will use it for like a radio, because I mean,
yeah,
if you can identify really fast, then you can actually just turn this on, put it in your car, turn the cha-cha channel on, and you could just literally be like, oh yeah, and you just get used to that, knowing, like, identifying here, because
I turn
like
it
when you're
on.
dancing and you're out on the studio on the floor, right? You're gonna start you're gonna listen, but you're gonna be listening with different intent because you have all these other
Yeah,
things to listen to. But if you're in your
yes,
car and cha-cha comes on, you don't have anything to worry about. So you'll just start listening for the more intricate parts of
yeah.
music. So really good training tool to just start listening big time.
Even just in the past month since we kind of set this up and started doing it, I've been putting it on in the shop here. So every day when I come into the shop, I always have like background music going, and
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
find myself like I'm just working away at my computer, and I've got either I like the dance party because it has so many different things come
Yeah,
in, so it
a lot of
has kind of been
variety.
like quizzing myself, like, okay, what is this? All right, what is this? And it's been really fun because it's everything. But
Yeah,
even the rounds, one day I'm like, I'm in a Latin mood today. I'm just going to listen to the Latin rounds, and
that's
um,
awesome. Well, that makes me
yeah,
happy.
yeah,
If you use it that way,
yeah,
that's every intent and purpose for that, because it is all about identifying, and the purpose of, like, you hear the tune and that makes you move, right? So what
right,
better way to, like, be seen, especially if you're on that competitive side, or if you're on a performance side, where people get to enjoy not just your movement, but they get to watch
right,
you engage and
yeah,
really go like, oh no, they're moving because that song is so awesome,
right,
and they see the
right,
joy. So
yeah,
I love that. That's
yeah,
great. Great
yay,
chord. Beautiful.
yay. Well, good. Thank you so much for your time and for this time to interview you. I'm sure that there are going to be more questions. One thing that we're doing as we continue to talk to our subscribers is just like, what are your biggest challenges? How can we inspire and equip you and help you be prepared for your journey? So don't be surprised if later on I'm like, hey, Brent, we got a question about this with musicality or
Yeah,
different
let's do it
things.
live
We will.
then. We could do it live, and people could comment right here, um,
Yeah.
while we
Ooh,
talk. So you can
oh, yeah.
invite. We can make a date about it. So just let me know.
Okay.
I would love to talk about music. We could also, when I give the music seminars at camps, people have never been able to hear an American foxtrot back to back with an international foxtrot, because you would never be at a competition where they would play one after
Right.
the other. It's always
Right.
in sequence of five dances, right? So
Right.
this has helped a lot of people understand that some of the subtle nuances that I hear, that I say,
Yeah.
this is American. This feels this feels like an
Right.
international tango.
International.
It's more clear now than ever has before, like, as far as like what the trends are. But people don't realize that the music is a trend, just like their shoes, and just like their makeup and their hair. But yet no one wants the trend. They keep the trend down here. They won't let that music progress
Right.
with all of their dancing in the face, and they still want this music to be their little go-to solid thing. So I like pushing the envelope and kind of making people saying, you can dance to this beat as well. It is the exact
Right.
same. Take it easy, lighten
Yeah.
up, and go back to this last concept of dancing, which was that music comes on, you want to move. And that's
Yeah.
that's what you should see. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, well, let's
So
do it whenever
great.
you're ready.
Okay. I'll let you know. We'll definitely. That sounds really awesome. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
You're welcome. I look forward to
Yeah.
anyone can contact me with musicmills.net.
Yes.
Brent at musicmills.net is my email, or just my Facebook, Brent Thomas Mills, or Instagram is at Music Mills app, I believe. Yes, at Music Mills app. So
Awesome.
that's there it is. I'll show that right there. There you go. Anyway, there you go. Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate you putting me in that little
Yeah.
ballroom box, and I hope everyone can find some inspiration. And again, if you need any help, then I'll be here. Got all kinds of music for you.
Yay. Awesome. Thank you so much, Brent.
All right, you bet. Take care. Thank you. Okay.
All right.
Good job.
Yay. Thank you so much. That